4 minutes late, so that's okay. Um, I will introduce Alan by basically giving you the name of his talk, which I'm desperately trying to get up on my screen. Alan's going to talk to us today about planetarium audience activity strategies. Alan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Fraser. Thank you for reminding me the title of my talk. So we'll turn to planetariums now, and I'll share my screen, and let's see. Okay, let me get into some slide sharing here. These are my slides. Let me go into the slideshow. Okay, does that show up good for you?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll start out with I'm from Lawrence Hall of Science at the University of California, Berkeley. I was the planetarium director there from about 1998 to 2009. And but I started working there in 1974, and that's when the planetarium started by a gentleman named Alan Friedman. He was the first planetarium director there. This is a photo of that planetarium, which was only a 20-foot diameter dome, and it was designed to hold one class basically, and have the class participate, and public audiences too, to participate in the planetarium show by doing activities. We have since gotten digital projection at that planetarium, but this is how it started out. And it was a specific, so my talk is about sort of the history and the concept, the philosophy of doing audience participation planetarium programs. The very first program that I learned how to do there is one that Alan Friedman, it's the first one that he developed actually, called Stonehenge. And that's a planetarium program where one of the main activities, just to give you an example of the idea of an audience activity, and this is a really fun one. We watch the sunrise in the planetarium, and we mark with markers. We mark with one marker where the sun has risen. This is a little cartoon diagram showing how that works by Bud Wentz. And I'm going to talk about the publication of these things too. That particular cartoon is from what is PASS Volume 2, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But anyway, we watch the sun go through maybe a couple of hours of rising, and then we stop and we say, audience, where is the sun going to set? Okay, and so everybody picks up a marker off of the dome, and this can be done a number of different ways, actually. It doesn't have to be markers. In fact, in Germany, at the International Planetarium Society in Germany, I did it in a huge planetarium, and I just had the people go walk to the place in the dome where they thought the sun was going to set. Okay, and then we go so once everybody's made their guess, you go through the day, and they see most people have guessed wrong. Even even sometimes astronomers will guess that wrong, because it's something you really don't learn about, and a planetarium is a perfect place to learn how the sun behaves in its rising and setting. Then the rest of the planetarium program goes into the actual theories about what Stonehenge may have been for, and astronomical alignments of risings and settings of the sun on the solstices. So another activity, I just want to give you a brief description of what example activities might be. And this was also one of the early planetarium shows that were developed by Alan Friedman, but it was at the instigation of me. I was giving Stonehenge programs, and I said, after our show one time, I went to Alan's office and said, people kind of want to see the night sky and they want to learn, they want to see constellations. And so he wrote this program called Finding Your Star, which then became what became called Constellations Tonight, and currently it's been showing at Lawrence Hall of Science for many, many years. And this same kind of thing is done at many planetariums that do audience participation, of which there are a number. Anyway, in this one, we hand out a star map, like the one you're seeing here, for a particular time of year. And we teach the audience how to use the star map. And then 5 or 10 minutes of the program is just open, free time where the audience is working in small groups to find the constellations. And then after that time period is up, we hand the pointers to each group, a light pointer to shine on the dome, and they point out where their constellation. So by the time the show is done, they've learned how to find the constellations, and they have this tool that they can take home and go find the constellations. Now, nowadays you have these apps that allow you to find constellations very easily with the app. But there's something very, this program still, or this activity still has value. There's something about it that's very different from having an app. This shows you the whole sky at once, and the app only shows you one. Well, anyway, I won't go into those differences. This is an adaptation I made for the International Planetarium Society in Berlin to project a portion of a star map on the dome. Because in a large planetarium, you really can't, it's logistically difficult to hand out star maps and have them do it as you would in a small planetarium. So it can be done in a large planetarium this way by projecting. And this particular kind of star map, you have to rotate the star map. Well, you don't have to, but the way you use it is to rotate it so that the horizon that you're interested in is at the bottom. So I created 4 different horizon views to show for a large planetarium. So just in general, historically, we had summer institutes starting in 1979, and for doing workshops for planetarium professionals and doing participatory-oriented planetariums. And then in 1989, specifically for school planetariums. And this resulted in the publication that we call Planetarium Activities. Well, at that time, it was called Planetarium Activities for Student Success. And it really is applicable for public shows too. So the name got changed to Planetarium Activities for Successful Shows. And it was published back then as booklets with slides. And by slides, I don't mean what you're looking at now. I mean by Kodachromes or Fujichromes. So those are available now. And the main point of my talk is to say that all of the work that we've done and all of the activities we've created are available on the web for free. And so here's this QR code, and I'll put this in the chat, actually. This link goes to a place, let me see if actually, I clicked on it and it went there. So we're now on a web browser, and there are three sites that you can go to that have these planetariums. Now, the actual Lawrence Hall of Science, the official Lawrence Hall of Science site is here. And that's it's where you can, there's 3 programs that are actually available in their fullness there, but you can search for all the activities of all the other programs by activity, basically. Our programs at the time when I started working there were 50 minutes long, which is pretty long for nowadays. Nowadays, you have programs that are 20, 30, or at most 40 minutes long, most places. So the activities can be put together in different ways for different lengths of programs. Let's see if I can go back to that. Another place where you can get these programs in a little different form is at the International Planetarium Society. There's a PASS webpage on the International Planetarium Society where I was a webmaster actually for a number of years. And so I have access to edit and modify this. So there are planetarium activities here, and the past volumes, here's a listing of them. It's sorry for the fine print here, but there's the first volume actually is the Planetarium Educators Workshop Guide, which is basically what we did back in 1979 it's a professional development for planetarium professionals. The second volume is just a collection of activities that was created by Gerald Mallon. The resources volume is that was created way back then. We just don't make that available because it was way out of date. We had a volume on using a portable planetarium, but then the rest of these are the actual titles of shows, planetarium shows that we created. So I told you about constellations tonight, and I told you about Stonehenge. But there are all these other shows. There's one on Red Planet Mars. That one has to be updated. Some of these have to be updated frequently. Red Planet Mars and Moons of the Solar System are ones that have to be updated frequently. Colors from Space or How Big is the Universe? Well, those really should be updated. But in fact, all of these deserve to be updated because of advances in the field. The last one here, Strange Planets, was made as an education and public outreach project of the NASA Kepler mission. And let me show you that last website, which is Global Systems Science, which is relevant to an earlier talk today. But there's a page on our Global Systems Science curriculum. This is a high school curriculum that Global Systems Science is. And this has also all of the volumes. And I'll just let you explore that on your own at your leisure. We could look at a couple of other examples. But let me flip back to the talk here. Let's see. And finish my, I think I have one more slide. Let's see. Where's there we go. This is my last slide. And this is actually the very latest thing that's happening at Lawrence Hall of Science. It's called Planetarium Pilots. And it is the concept of that we have a tablet that has options on it that anybody can walk into. This is a public science center, actually. It's like a museum. And we thought, well, maybe we can make the planetarium open to the public just for free exploration and have the people who come in control what goes on directly with an interface here. So people can come in during times when we're not actually presenting a program, and they can control the planetarium, basically. So that's our latest effort. And there's my email address. I will put the link into the chat as soon as I stop sharing, which will be right now. And thank you for listening.
Alan, thank you very much for sharing all that with us. I wonder if you have any questions or comments at all. We do have a couple of minutes. I do shudder when I think, or when I guess how much a planetarium costs, the amount of money that is invested in the software and the hardware in a planetarium to then let the public loose in there seems a horrific idea.
Actually, we do have either a volunteer or a staff person
I
in there.
guess there was some sort of safety net in there, yeah, that it wasn't
Yes.
quite as straightforward.
Yeah, we
Carl, you've
thought of
joined
that.
us as well. Do you have any bits of wisdom? You have your hand up, but I don't think you have your microphone on.
Yes, I do.
I thought you might. Please go
Hey,
ahead.
Alan, this is super. Hey, how we're like this? Could you do a lot of the activities in the portable planetarium, or is
Oh
it?
yeah. Yep.
I mean,
They're
the
all, we do them all in the.
sunset
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Say it
or
again.
the sunrise, sunset. I mean, these sound like marvelous things.
Yeah, people in portable planetariums have used Post-its as markers in the portable planetarium. Other times they will make a Velcro strip around the edge and have little cardboard Velcro markers to put up. So there's many ways to do it in portables and in big planetariums.
Yeah, this is super. Thank you so much.
Just a question on that, Alan, because I have a colleague who works on these in this country as well. I wonder why I didn't ask her the question. When you go to a school, for example, with a portable planetarium, what do you need the school to provide? Flat space and a power socket, or is that about it, right?
Yeah, we need power, and the main thing is to have a room that's tall enough to hold the dome, which, whatever size dome you have. And that usually is in what they call a multi-purpose room, where they have lunches, or it could be in a gymnasium if they're not using it. But yeah, it has to be a big enough room to set it up, and power. That's all.
And it just plugs into a regular wall socket, right? You're not using
Yes.
anything really clever in
Yeah,
terms of power.
110 volts in the US. Also, I would advise not trying to set it up outside. If a wind starts blowing and it's the wrong kind of dome, the dome might start blowing over.
Yeah, which is hilarious until you think of the consequences and the cost. Yeah, okay, fair